One of the many things that the Michigan basketball team has done well this season is protect Chrysler Center. Michigan has won 14 consecutive games here dating back to last season. One of those wins came January 17th when they beat the Michigan State Spartans 60-59. But in the Big Ten, usually you play a home-and-home series. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Shepard. Welcome to Inside Michigan Basketball. The Wolverines, for the second consecutive season, were looking for the season series sweep. This time, a Sunday matinee against the Spartans at the Breslin Center.
Wolverines come into this one 17-6, ranked 22nd in the country. Michigan State comes in 17-5, number 9 in the nation. Novak tries to answer. It does from the right side. Zach Novak, the assistant captain, says, take that. We're deadlocked at 5. Drives down the middle. Finger rolls it home. John Beilein and the Wolverines need a timeout. First between the circles. 2. A long 3. Oh, what a shot by Trey Burke. Green against Montrich, right baseline. Backs his way in. Forced it off the high glass and it drops. Good ball fake. Steps inside the lane. Bounce pass inside Morgan. Pounds into the neck. Forced up. Ball squaring through. 45-37. Michigan now within 8. 64-54. A 10-point win for the Spartans. They even the series.
A lot of credit goes to them. They picked it up big time on the defensive end. You know, their defense this year, I think, as a whole, from top to bottom, has been the best I've seen it since I've been at Michigan. And they hedge the ball screens great. They let Trey get much easy, many easy looks in the paint. And even when he got in the paint, if I thought I was open, I still wasn't open because he couldn't see me. Guys were help side and in the lanes. They just made it tough on us all night.
Early turnovers, led to easy baskets. We got in a hole that we just couldn't climb out of. If you're going to do that to yourself, you got to make open ones to get back in the game. And, we just didn't do it today.
I think we were kind of just not really in it on offense, worried too much about missing shots, and that really affected us on defense.
You guys haven't lost back-to-back games all season long. Are you confident you'll be able to bounce back Wednesday against Nebraska?
Bounce back, we just keep saying like we're going to learn from all these games, and it's a tough stretch we just went through. A lot of teams, are even going to go 500 in that, so we're not happy with it, but we understand where it was tough, and we just got to learn from it now, and we got to go get Nebraska.
Sometimes we try and break down basketball games maybe too much. It comes down to who makes more shots, and Michigan State just seemed to make more shots on this.
Wait, Matt, what happens? They got easier shots. They really did a great job. There's no secret. They love putting the ball inside. We've gone to a small lineup. It's not just that side. We thought we could expose some of those things on the outside, and I think Zach Novak had a great game on offense. We give up some things defensively because of that, and they have to make all those shots. They can just get enough second shots. Sometimes, I'm sure when I look at the film, I'll see poor address to be physical and box out. Sometimes the ball was just way above the rim, and they jump better than us. So we'll learn from it. We'll get better.
That's where their length comes into play. You and I talked before the game. Your appreciation for Draymond Green. He had a double-double today. He really seemed to be the difference in the contest.
He was huge. So it was really a tremendous play. He came off an injury that looked like that was career-threatening to when it happened, and all of a sudden, he was tremendous. So I'm happy for him. He's a great kid, and he's as a senior, he really leads this team.
There are a team that likes to dominate in the paint, and they did so again today, but that's their method of operandi, isn't it?
Well, that's what they've done, and that's what they've done for years. And, I say, as we continue to improve as a team and we continue to recruit, longer and bigger, more physical players, we can do some of that. Right now, you got to trick a little bit. You got to do some different things. You got to let your team grow up a little bit. Both Nixon and Draymond Green have been around for a long time. I mean, they played a lot of minutes inside, right? And we got J-Mo in his second year, and Evan Smotra's trying to figure it out, right? We don't have that type of defensive presence, so you don't gimmick. And sometimes when you do different things, you get paid on the backside.
Your team has not lost back-to-back games all season long. You're confident that they'll be able to bounce back on the road Wednesday in Nebraska.
Well, Matt, like I said in my radio program, the only thing I have confidence is we're going to work hard every day. I mean, we just do our best. Yeah, I know that Nebraska's been a very difficult place for people to go to. They were 17-2 last year at home. They've got a good home record right now. And we're going to have to play better than we did today, and we're going to have people that have to step up better than they did today. But that's all part of it. Sometimes guys will have tough games, and we just roll with them. We said, okay, man, go get them next time.
It's also a kind of case in point where you haven't had to say a whole lot to your club after a loss. They realize what they need to do. That helps, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but they realized today the other team was better than them today, and we were better than them by a point, at our place. We just continue to. A big thing is treasure the adversity, treasure the loss, so you can get better.
Coach, thanks.
Thanks.
When we come back, the week started out well with a home jump against Indiana as the Wolverines look to salvage a season series split. The story of the matchup against the Hoosiers when we return after this.
Inside Michigan Basketball is brought to you in part by AT&T. When you can go faster, you are free to do more. AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. And by the University of Michigan Health System and UofMHealth.org. At a place of extraordinary medicine, what you see is how amazing life can be.
Back outside for Hull, sneaks inside the line, runner on the way, no. Rebounded by Burke, good box out by Novak. Here comes Burke sprinting left to right, weaving his way, spinning his way, laid it up, laid it in! Douglas sneaks inside the lane, a kick out, Novak open for three, ring it up from the baseline. The co-captain buries it from the right corner, and the Wolverines have opened up a 13-0 lead. It's 14-2. Douglas behind the back dribble, drives on Matt Robb, dumps it inside for Morgan. Morgan, hook shot in the lane, rolls down. Left side, Vogrich eyes the three, rimmed out and rebounded by Cody Zeller. Right side for Jordan Hulls. Hulls, someone's got to stop the ball. Drives, bounce pass inside, Oladipo, double clutch, good. In Indiana on a bit of a run to pull within 11. Now Hulls sneaks inside, tosses to Watford. Watford fouled and an and one. He shovels it to Douglas. Douglas right side, Novak. Three on the way, book it. He has 9, all from deep range. It's 41-36. Douglas right side for Burke. Drives right baseline on Oladipo. Ran out of room. Got it to Morgan. Lays it off the glass and through. Pretty play by Trey Burke. Nice finish by Jordan Morgan. Zeller hands to Hulls. Hulls found an opening and hit the three, top of the key. Jordan Hulls is keeping Indiana in it. They trail by just 3. Spins and goes right side for Douglas. Touch pass. Burke drives baseline on Watford. Feeds an open Hardaway. Give me a 3 ball. There you go. From the left side, Tim Hardaway, just his second triple of the night, and Michigan's in front by 5. Douglas pivots, right side for Burke. Burke drives baseline. Opposite wing Hardaway to Douglas for 3. Yes! Stu Douglas wears a crown for the left wing. Michigan's in front by 8. Timeout, Tom Crean.
Coach was getting on us. He was in the huddle saying, Hull's knocking him down. Why can't we hit an open jumper? And so I knew next time if I had an open look, we ran a play and Trey ran baseline. And it was open a couple times. And so Trey hit Tim hit one more, and I knew just had to hit it because I was just a little bit off here and there, first 3 shots, so I knew it was going to be going in.
You're not going to hold that team to 8 points. I mean, they're going to make their run. Just the way they play, so fast-paced. If you just miss a couple shots, they can get going in a hurry. Good job, man. And, I was really impressed with the way we fought back. To kind of push that lead back out there at the end, make our free throws. That game could have went south pretty quick.
We started off sticking to the game plan, what Coach Beilein got us doing. And, we went away from that in a little bit in the end of the first half, but came out in the second half and just got the job done.
And everybody does their job. It was right few minutes for us. And what it says, you're not going to go that long. You're not going to play that against that talent. You're not going to play that long for 40 minutes. And just if you go to that, you got to beat them by 45, don't you? Yeah. That wasn't going to happen. I love the way 11 and a half, and then they make their creep up there, and there was some little things that didn't go our way, and we just hung in there. And all of a sudden, then when we challenged a couple people, we had 2 really big shots with two really good passes. And that was huge, and then they pushed the foul line. They shouldn't push the foul line, right? They shouldn't foul us late, because the game's over, you foul us late. Okay? So I'm so happy for you.
Most prolific scoring team in the Big Ten is Indiana. They were just here at Chrysler Center, and John Beilein's club held them 23 points below their season average. Coach, how did your defense do it?
Well, I think our defense was part of our offense. We really ran good offense in the beginning of the game, and it forced them to take the ball out of bounds, and then we could retreat and at least set our defense. But our guys were really smart. We did a couple new things today, and they adapted very well, and it just took them a while to get open shots. They didn't make a couple, but they had to take some guarded shots too, and then we did not give them second shots early.
Extremely focused, your ball club. You come out shooting very, very well and moving the basketball well. You're up 28-8, so a plus 20, and then they got a little bit closer. Finish the sentence for me, though, because it was a nice job punching right back for your club.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we weren't going to beat them by 40 points. They're a very, very good team. So when you get up by that, you say, okay, that's good, but it's probably not reality. Yet that was my whole thing at halftime, is that, Coach, or guys, we're up by 11. This is really good. This is not, we just didn't blow 9 points, a 20-point lead. We are up by 11 on a nationally ranked team that has beaten Kentucky and Ohio. So we are going after this with everything that we have, and we're in good position. And thank goodness we got into that, because they really played a good second half. We didn't play as well in the second half, still could hang on to win.
Trey Burke got you off to such a strong start. He scored 10 points in the first 5 and 21 of the game. You kind of took on his personality early on in that game.
Yeah, we got him into the open court because our defense was so good. So when he's in the open court, that really is a great game for him to be in. Second half, we couldn't get him in the open court as much because our defense wasn't as good. Their offense was a little bit better. They did a great job, but he came up at the foul line really big and had a big basket against them when we needed one.
Tim Hardaway, another double-digit performance, but he struggled with his three-point shooting. At one point, he was 1 for 7, but you keep preaching to him, keep shooting the ball because you are such a good shooter. He made a big 3 down the stretch.
All we want Tim to do is take quality shots. You know, Tim's got an ability to get his shot, whether somebody's all over him, he can still get it off. He's learning what a quality shot is. He took a great quality shot to put us up by 5, and then we threw it right back to him. It wasn't a quality shot, so he shared it to Stu. So Stu knocked it down. We're up 8, ball game.
Talk a little bit about the leadership that your co-captains showed, both Zach Novak and Stu Douglas. Both made big 3s in that second half.
Well, you know what? They're Indiana kids. I'm sure that they grew up hoping to play at Indiana or Purdue. And for them in the last week to beat both Indiana and Purdue is big to them. Someone asked me, they said, did you worry about your guys being down after the Ohio game and maybe with another game Sunday coming up? And we ended up saying, no, not with those two. Those two, this is a big game. This is a Super Bowl type of game for them once we go out there because they're from Indiana. So it's really big for us to have those leaders set the tone in practice. They set the tone in the locker room, and I think they set the tone on the court.
Coming up, the coach needs your help for a worthy cause. But when we return, Ben Cronin was part of John Beilein's first recruiting class. Even though he no longer plays on the floor, he's still involved with Michigan basketball. We'll let you in on the story when we return. And welcome back to Inside Michigan Basketball. 4 years ago, when John Beilein went to New York to recruit Ben Cronin, he thought he had solved all his center problems. The 7-footer with a long wingspan would be able to rebound with the best of them, get easy looks inside, and be an intimidating force on the defensive end. The one thing Ben Cronin couldn't do was stay healthy. He no longer plays the game he loves, but he still supports and is involved with the team and school that he loves so much. He goes to practice every day, doing what he can to improve the team. He still has a noticeable limp, a consistent reminder of his surgically repaired left hip, the reason he can never play basketball at the highest level. Cronin remembers what his future looked like just a few short years ago.
I'm going to be a stud college player, and then I'm going to be in the NBA, and you think of all these things you want to do, and then suddenly it's kind of just taken away, and it doesn't seem real at first, honestly. So my senior year, my father passed away during the season, and that shook my world completely, obviously. It's a tough loss. And then coming here and then having a complete identity change, knowing that you're not necessarily going to be a basketball player anymore, was crazy.
He felt sorry for himself, but battled through it.
Losing stuff that are so important to you only helps you realize what you actually have. And that's kind of one thing that hit me last year, and I'm valuing so much more this year, is that I'm still in one of the coolest places in the world. This is, in my opinion, the best university in the world. And this team is special, and they're so fun to be around. Coach Beilein kind of took that father figure role for me. We grew closer because he knew, I needed someone to help me become, a man and teach me different things.
Cronin played in just 7 games for Michigan. He scored 11 points, but his value to the team these days is immeasurable.
I think a lot of college coaches have to treat this as, you know, a business. That's what it is. They have to win. And Coach Beilein's kind of got another side, which is what I really appreciate about him. He cares about his players. He's fun to be around.
And Ben is fun to be around. He's an outgoing person who was voted Michigan's homecoming king last fall.
When I was first nominated for it, I kind of laughed and I was like, well, I can't get this. I'm not even actually technically an athlete. The whole campus just kind of, little by little, people were like, hey, Ben, I'm going to vote for you. And I'd laugh and I'd be like, get out of here. You know what I mean? I don't have a chance. Don't waste your vote. But it was funny. I didn't expect it at all, to be honest with you.
Ben was 5'8" at age 10. At 12 years old, he was as tall as his 6'3" father. By the time he was a sophomore in high school, he was 6'11".
And then by the end of my sophomore year, I was 7 foot. People say, how many comments do you get a day about your height? And honestly, if I counted, I'd probably get close to 50 comments a day, just for people just being like, man, you're tall. Like, I'll get it from the same person I see every day. It's just kind of funny. But if I didn't embrace that and just kind of understand that that's just who I am, it'd drive me crazy. I don't know. I don't mind it.
Cronin is one of 5 siblings, and he's always valued his education, and he'll graduate this year. Dreams? Ben still has them. They're different now. Not worse, just different.
I'm a family man, to be honest. And if I had to think of my dreams, it'd obviously be, you know, a pretty good coach one day, coach either in college or, you know, maybe be a really good high school coach, whatever happens. But I'd just love to send my kids to Michigan one day and allow them to do the same thing I have. That's really corny, but it's true.
Boy, what an inspiring piece that is. Ben Cronin, one of those good guys, and I know it hurt you and hurt your program not to have him, but boy, for him to stick with your team and show the type of maturity and leadership has to make you feel good.
It's really he's disappointed the way it all turned out. He was our first recruit. We ended up, Syracuse offered him late. Pitt had already offered him. I had a long-time relationship with Ben, and I really felt that he had a chance to not just be a great Michigan player, to play afterwards. 7 feet tall, could run okay for a 7-footer, better than average, but could shoot and could really pass and rebound. There was one game he had like 19 block shots. Can you imagine that in a high school game? And all of a sudden he comes here with a pre-existing injury. We feel really good that he's made the most of this. He's going to get his degree in teaching. He's going to come back next year and do his student teaching. We love that guy, and he's got a great future ahead of him.
Very special. It's just like the fact that you are involved in the Coach's Challenge. That's a special cause for you. Explain what that's all about and why you have chosen the center you chose.
Well, it's sponsored by Infinity. You can go to our website, mgoblue.com, look at the article, click on the link, and you can end up voting for Coach Beilein every day for the St. Louis Center in Chelsea, Michigan, a home for mostly young boys who have mental illness, autism, and they don't have a playground. They really have nowhere for, you could imagine, you know, kids in their teens and they're 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, who really need help just to be able to let it all out someday, you know, and they don't have anything like that. And so the Infinity, we hope if we can get enough votes for Coach Beilein, big competition from Coach Izzo and Coach Mata. So all our fans of Michigan, you can vote every day. You go to that link at mgoblue on the article, and you can vote every day for me. And by February 27th, we could win this thing and then move into the Final Four. So it's going to become one of my charities. I really look forward to working with them, whether we win this thing or not. But we can win this thing if we get enough votes.
It's the Coach's Charity Challenge. You can win up to $100,000 for the coach and his charities, $5,000 specifically for this very one. And you have until February 27th. All you have to do is go to mgoblue.com, click on the link there, and start voting for the head coach, John Beilein. Plenty more to come on Inside Michigan Basketball. Don't go away.
Inside Michigan Basketball is brought to you in part by Absol Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. And by State Farm, for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state.
Aaron.
Welcome back to Inside Michigan Basketball. The Wolverine women had 3 games this week. On Monday, they started off on a sour note in Madison, losing to Wisconsin 66-60. Carmen Reynolds was one of the bright spots as the senior became Michigan's all-time leader in made three-pointers.
It honestly hasn't hit me yet. I don't know if it will later, but it's a great honor to carry that title and be in the record books.
On Thursday, U of M returned home to face Northwestern. The Wolverines got out of the gates quickly, leading by as many as 14 in the first half. But the Wildcats answered back with a 21-6 run in the second to tie things up at 44. Michigan, however, would claw their way back out front as 4 different Wolverines finish in double figures, led by Rachel Sheffer's 17. U of M's balanced attack helps them bounce back in the 79-68 victory. After the win against Northwestern, Michigan looked to make it back-to-back wins in the Big Ten as they welcomed in the Spartans, a team they had not yet beaten, in 10 straight tries. The Maize and Blue got off to an inauspicious start against MSU, trailing 11-0 out of the gates. But the Wolverines rallied with a run of their own, tying things up on this interesting Sheffer three-pointer.
Halfway down, and it drops back through.
The teams traded leads the rest of the way as U of M's long-range accuracy was matched by the Spartans' dominating inside presence. Portia Poole would break the Wolverine hearts, though, as she hits this shot with just 3.9 ticks on the clock. It proved to be the difference in the 65-63 MSU win.
I definitely hope it's TBD. We get to face them in the Big Ten tournament again and, come out on top that time.
Up next for the Wolverines, a date with Big Ten leading Nebraska on Thursday in Lincoln. For Inside Michigan Basketball, I'm Anthony Polidano.
Anthony, thanks. We invite you back next week, a big week here on Inside Michigan Basketball, as we recap the men's showdown at Nebraska, first time ever in Lincoln, and the home games against Illinois and Ohio State. Until then, I'm Matt Shepard. So long, and go Blue.
We are on that. Get into our
John Beilein and the Wolverines were tired of alternating wins and losses. They knew they had to keep pace, and they had to hold serve to do so.